almond extract, except for we're not extracting almonds.
This is the question we always get. It's our almond extract, and they're like, "Oh, almonds." No, you don't use almonds for almond extract.
Some people have,
Yeah.
but we have found that it was very bitter, and it didn't quite taste like almonds when we used almonds. And so we found that using apricot bitter apricot kernels gives us that almond taste. Who would have ever known?
Right.
Right.
The things that we've learned along our journey. And so a lot of people, in fact, I think we've got a recipe on our website where you can use almonds. And so the purists out there that want like pure almond extract, there is a recipe and you can use almonds. But what we found is sometimes we as consumers think that a product should taste a certain way. And when it doesn't, we find things that make it taste the way that we believe it should taste, even though that it doesn't. And so this is a perfect example of one of those things where we use bitter, sweet apricot kernels. We always recommend sweet, but they're both bitter and sweet. They're both sweeter than what we experience with just plain almonds. This is one of those cases where these wonderful little apricot kernels give us an almond sweet taste. This is what commercial extract makers use when they're making almond extracts, unless they're adding, you know, different sweeteners and artificial sweeteners to it to get like that sweet taste. This is what's being used. And so this is what we use in our book. And it creates a marvelous extract that we call almond extract because it does taste like almonds, the way almonds taste when you're eating them, not the way almonds taste when you're extracting.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going for. Did I say that right? Have we thoroughly confused all of you now? Join us next week when we make pineapple extract with an orange. It's going to be amazing. I'm joking. We're not going to do that.
They kind of look like little almonds, to tell you the truth. And really, if you have an apricot tree, and I did at my previous house, I had a fabulous apricot tree that just, I mean, we had apricots coming out of our ears, but I can't seem to get one here to grow.
No.
The deer like them more. They won't allow them to get going.
We've struggled with the deer.
Yeah, but if you take a look, this is what an apricot kernel looks like. That's the inside of an apricot pit. And so if you have an apricot tree, you could laboriously crack all those open and try and get these kernels out. But we just went ahead and bought them on Amazon. So that was an easy way for us to just get our apricot kernels.
Absolutely. So, and they're lovely. They're easy to get, easy to source. Amazon's got quite a few of them. That's a great place to go. We currently don't offer these. We haven't been able to find a source yet. We'd love to, but we currently don't. And so Amazon has them. Yep.
Okay, so the ingredients to this recipe are, again, this is an almond forward recipe with that vanilla binding accent to it. So we're just going to be adding 2 Madagascar beans, which is that buttery, creamy, wonderful vanilla that we are all very familiar with. And so we're going to add that to this wonderful almond extract.
Yeah, we always say, if you ever wonder what vanilla bean to use as a binder or an enhancer, Madagascar is always the safest place to start. That's the traditional bean.
Yeah, that's what we all, I mean, that's 70% of the vanilla comes, you know, from Madagascar. So that's what we're used to vanilla tasting like.
We love it. You can never go wrong with a Madagascar.
You can never go wrong with that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go down the middle because I want all of that caviar into this extract. I love seeing all those specks. Most of the flavor comes from the oils from the pod, but you are getting flavor from the beans. And it also, I think it's something, it's a mind thing. When you see
like the specks.
When you see those specks in your vanilla, you can taste the vanilla even more, I think, and it just makes us happy.
This is a discussion we have a lot.
Yes. Okay, so again, the vanilla beans go in first.
For the same reason. We're trying to keep them buried underneath.
They're all buried underneath, just in case they float up to the top. The apricot kernels will keep them down at the bottom. So I'm just going to fill this up.
So while you're filling that up, should I talk a little bit about
talk about it comes up in our group, it comes up a lot that there is some toxicity with the apricot kernels. There can be an accumulation of cyanide after you ingest it. And so why don't you talk about that?
Yeah. So, well, first, we've been kind of interchanging bitter and sweet. We use both, like bitter and sweet apricot kernels. They sell them in both the bitter form and the sweet form. We've used both. We recommend sweet because they're sweeter, but we haven't noticed a significant difference in a finished extract. So we're okay with both bitter and sweet. But sweet is what we kind of recommend because it's sweet, and it's supposedly a little sweeter. But we've had great experiences with both. That's one. Two, like Jill mentioned, that there's always a toxicity discussion that comes up when you're talking about apricot pits and apricot kernels that you've got to be aware of. So we always make sure we're very conscious that when we purchase product, you read the labels and you look at what it says. So in our case, we sourced apricot kernels that are USDA organic certified. That's important to us. And in the ones that we sourced, it said there's a caution on it, says do not consume more than 2 to 3 kernels per day. And so the concern is regular consumption of apricot kernels. So when we're using them to make extracts, our whole goal is to extract the oils from the kernel, but we're not going to leave the kernels in. We're going to remove the kernels when it's time to use the extract. And so we're trying to get all the oils out, and then the kernels themselves. This is the one time that I can think of when we don't recommend pulverizing or reusing in any form. Typically, when we're done extracting with apricot kernels, the used kernels go into the trash. Those of you that want to clean your kernels or take any steps at all to make them less toxic, you can get online. Like Jill said, there's lots of reputable companies that have done research on it. You can soak them, you can heat them, you can peel off the outer skin. All of those things sort of, mitigate the amount of the accumulating toxins that they're concerned about. In our case, where we're using the apricot kernels again to make an extract, and the serving size of an extract is 1 teaspoon. That 1 teaspoon then goes into a cooking application, like a cake or something. And then that cooking application is eaten over time or shared by, over time. I'm laughing. If it's a cake in our house and our boys are here, it's eaten in like an hour and a half. But it's shared over time with lots of people. It's not something that we worry about. We're not concerned about it because of its uses in extract and the application of extract and the fact that extract serving sizes are 1 teaspoon of product. And so, but we are conscious, or we're aware of it. And we don't, recommend pulverizing the apricot kernels to use them as like a garnish, like we do with spent coffee beans or spent cacao. After we make a coffee or a cacao extract, we always say, or pecans, we always say pulverize them and use them as like a garnish because they'll have a little bit of that vanilla flavor in there. We don't recommend doing it based on what the companies are saying and the warnings that they put on the label. We don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're consuming the equivalent of 2 to 3 apricot kernels per day over an extended period of time. So that's the concern. That's the research that we've done. We always talk about it because we're all learning together with everyone. So we say research it as well. When it comes to food, when in doubt, don't, is what we always say. And so we try to approach things very cautiously, and we're aware of it. We mention it in our book that you need to be aware of toxicity discussions related to apricot kernels. That's sort of our approach, and that's what we do in our home. And that's been a good thing and a fine thing for us, but it's something that we'd always encourage you to research and make sure that you're comfortable with it. If you're nervous about it, you can go back to almonds. And an almond extract made with almonds with vanilla beans can be a good extract. But it's just not as sweet as you get with the apricot kernels. And
olive stone fruits have this same toxicity. So, I mean, all of the different stone fruits have this, these core inside the middle. And so in all of the different fruits, you'll want to be careful there. Yep, they just come out of the ground that way. and or they come out of the bloom that way. And there's things that we all just do our best to be aware of all these different fruits and foods and things that we're consuming every day. And so this is one where we want to make sure we're talking about it. We put it in the book so everyone can be aware. Do your research and make sure that you're comfortable consuming apricot kernels. In our home, we're comfortable. We use it. We love it. It's a great extract. Yep. Just read the label on whatever you buy and go from there. There you go. I think we covered all those points. Yep. So again, we're just adding 8 ounces of vodka this time. Most all vodka is 40% alcohol. So there's, that's right in the sweet spot that we like, between 35 and 50%. And, she's using Tito's, and I'm going to digress just a little bit. The spirits that you choose are a fun
thing in extract making, right? We have people that, for example, if you sourced your apricot kernels from California and you got your vanilla beans from Hawaii, and then you want to use like a Tito's vodka and it's like an all-American extract. And that's fun. People do that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you want to go international, if you want to go, so spirits are a place in extract making where we can let a little bit of our personality and some creativity come through. So the Tito's is always a fun one. It's a great vodka. It's made in Texas. We've used it for, I don't know how many extracts, but
Yeah,
it's kind of a mid-shelf.
it's a
affordable.
middle shelf. It's
Yeah.
not expensive. You know, we haven't had too much problem. We don't usually go to the bottom shelf. A couple of times we've used, especially bourbon, one or two vodkas we've used have not been very good. So we kind of stick with middle of the shelf. You definitely don't need a top shelf vodka unless you just have Grey Goose in your, and you really like Grey Goose and it's already in your cupboard and you can just add a splash of 8 ounces into your extract, but it's not required or necessary.
There you go.
Okay, so we're just going to add in the 8 ounces here. Whoops. This is going to go right up to the top. I'm going to push this down a little bit.
Nothing to it. That fit about as snugly as you could have it fit, right?
It is snug, and you could get a bigger jar if you wanted.
Yeah.
But I like that it fits it all the way to the top.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of mixing it up a little bit. You can already see that the color of it's kind of cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
It'll settle down after a while. And then when you're finished with this, you can strain it. So you get all those little sediments out if you want.
Yeah.
I don't use a coffee filter because I want to keep some of my vanilla flecks in there. But I do strain it to get some of those bigger pieces that are coming off the apricot kernels.
Yeah. And when this one is ready, we'll come back. We'll keep this. Let's put our dates on it. We'll save it for the next time. And then we'll have a workshop when we open this one back up and we do our taste tests. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't put the label on the strawberry.
Oh, that's
which
right.
I should probably do that.
There it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the label on the vanilla here. I just use masking tape while I'm in the process of creating them because I can take them off easily and then change out different directions that I need. So I am just going to put on my labels. I always put the date that I start here on the bottom. And then I'll put a change out in a month. I'll add 4 ounces. And then this guy's going to sit for 2 months. And then we're going to taste test this. We know that a lot of people in our group like to go through 2, 3, maybe even 4 change outs because they like that almond flavor to be a little bit stronger. And you're welcome to do that. It's not going to, you're not adding any water like you are with the fresh fruit. So you can change out as many times as you want. You can keep adding new apricot bitters. Why can I not talk today? Sorry, you guys, my brain is just like, woo.
Because it was supposed to be spring and it's winter. It's got all of us off sync.
I'm freezing.
Right. It's but you can add more kernels and
kernels.
Yeah,
that's the word.
And so we always say this, and I don't think we've said it here in this workshop, but we hope that our book again is just a starting point. It's a springboard for you to then change and adjust and add to our recipes, to our starting points that we've shared in the book. That you kind of go from there and make them all your own. So the joy of extract making is that it is a developing craft. We learn new things every single day. And so when we get into now taste testing, and we're coming up on a number of workshops where we're going to start taste testing all the ones that we started making when we started this series last year. It's all about taste testing and then refining, and then taste testing and refining. So taste test as often as you want, refine if you feel like you need to refine. If you want to add more flavor, add more flavor. On the strawberries, say the fresh strawberries, when you taste that, if you want more strawberries, but you've already diluted it to the level you can, you could add some dry strawberries to the mix and add even more if you want to add more. Meaning there's so many things where you can sort of build and change and alter these extracts to come up with flavors that have never been invented before that you then get to use in your cooking in your home. That's what we hope we wake up in everyone, is this sort of creative side of your mind where you start creating flavors that are in your cabinet that you can pull out when you're cooking anything and you say, you know what? This would be great with a little pineapple extract. This would be great with a little strawberry. This would be great with an almond. This would be great with a pecan. This would be great with whatever it is. Now they're all at your fingertips. You use them, change them, adjust them, have fun with them. That's the point, right?
So we're just giving you the foundation here. We're giving you these recipes that we know are good, and then you try it and see what you think, if you think it's just right, or you think you want to add something else, or you need to add more apricot kernels, then that's up to you. But our job here is we just want to give you like the foundation, and then like Paul said, get those creative juices rolling to create your own unique extract.
There you go. So that is step one of almond extract with sweet apricot kernels and Madagascar vanilla beans. We're going to come back and we'll be doing taste tests here in the near future on this one, and on both of them, really. Both of these, I think we're going to taste test over the summer, so they're both coming up. Yep. So we hope that all of you that are with us today can join us for that one as we sort of follow the journey of these little lives, of these little bottles of extracts that we're making.
Yes, and
we'll send them off to college. Each one of them.
Yeah, and you store them just like you store your vanilla in a dark, cool cupboard. Doesn't have to be cold. It just cool. Don't put it, below the oven or above the oven. Just in a cupboard somewhere in the kitchen, somewhere it's out of the light. If you have dark bottles, then you can keep them on your counter. But if they're clear like ours, you'll want to keep them out of sunlight.
Keep them out of the UV rays and keep them away from heat as much as you can. You'll get the best results where the flavor compounds won't be damaged. And that's what we're always worried about, is heat, UV rays that can hurt those flavor compounds that we're trying to get into the extract solution. We don't want that to happen. So